Hi, my name is Savannah Blystone, and this is my online training assignment for ECI 511, Learning Introduction to Learning Design and Technology. So I've decided to do my online training assignment using the platform or on the platform of Nearpod. I first discovered Nearpod when schools were shut down in March due to COVID-19. I became really interested in the platform when trying to convert my classes over to online learning, and with my school operating under Plan C, it's become an invaluable addition to my teaching toolkit. Nearpod has lots of features that you can either pay for, but a lot of them are free, and it's a great resource that I even plan on using whenever we do come back to the traditional classroom setting. So this right here is just my own personal Nearpod account with some of the lessons that I have made, including the one for today, along with some pre-made lessons that Nearpod makes that you can actually upload and use on your own. So let's start our lesson for the day. First thing you're going to want to do is, let's get to my lesson. So whenever you do make your Nearpod, depending on what you are doing, either live participation or student, you're going to be generated a code. Now, you can give students the code and they will simply type it into Nearpod, or you can send students a link and there's no need for them to type in the code. Now, for sake of just my own sanity, I'm going to have my name for today's lesson as test student. Join lesson. So Nearpod. By the end of this lesson, my goal is for you to have a basic understanding of the platform, for you to have set up your own free Nearpod account. You can then make your own choice if you would like to buy a subscription to it. I say the free version works great. You'll also have an understanding of the different types of assessments, and you will have learned how to make your own Nearpod lesson. So what exactly is Nearpod? It is an online interactive slideshow presenting tool. And it's a great thing for teachers because it allows you to create very engaging lessons for your students. It's kind of like that curse that all teachers have had at some point or another. There's always going to be some topic, it doesn't matter which subject or discipline you're teaching, that you're going to lose some students on. And that's one of the most disheartening things as an educator, is to be giving a presentation you think is going really well, but then you look out at your students and you see many, or even if it's just one or two, with that glassed over look on their face. Nearpod is a way to combat that because it allows you to engage very engaging and interactive activities within your lesson in your slideshows, along with assessment. So not only does it help to engage students, but it's going to help you as an educator by providing you with a variety of assessment tools that provide you with valuable data that you can use when reflecting upon your own teaching practices. Now, Nearpod operates under a freemium model, which we'll look at the pricing for that in just a second. But what is Nearpod? So with this quick video, it's going to explain it to you maybe a little bit better than me.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every lesson interactive. Launch lessons your students can't wait to join, with collaborative, engaging activities like virtual reality, simulations, and gamified quizzes. As the teacher, you'll always know where your students are with Nearpod's formative assessments, including polls, open-ended questions, draw-its, and more. Get started with what you already have. Upload any of your favorite resources, PowerPoints, Google Slides, and videos, including directly from YouTube. Then, add in media and formative assessment in a few clicks. And now you can add questions directly into videos to make them interactive. Get started even faster with our library of pre-made lessons and videos, built in partnership with some of your favorite brands. You can use them as is or customize to meet the unique needs of your students. Once you're ready to launch your lesson, choose from 3 teaching modes. In live participation mode, you control the pace and students participate on their devices, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. In student-paced mode, students move through and participate on their own, whether they're working from home or in class working in centers, stations, or groups. With front-of-class mode, you can use Nearpod without student devices and facilitate collaborative discussions. Imagine what you can do with Nearpod. Your students will love lessons that combine engaging media with collaborative ways for them to show off how much they've learned. You'll love unlocking student understanding in real time. and having reports to inform the next day's instruction. You'll wonder how you taught without it. Learn.
Okay, so that's just a quick introductory video produced by Nearpod. So the pricing for it, you have your silver, gold, platinum. A lot of schools and districts have created their own kind of district custom pricing, and then you can even use Nearpod in higher education. I ended up in March buying me the gold package for it, but with COVID-19, Nearpod has actually upgraded a lot of their silver packages. So silver now has many of the features that gold did when I bought it. So in all honesty, you're probably just better off sticking with silver. So on Nearpod's website in their pricing, you can see that while gold does have its benefits, the main reason why I bought my gold package was to have the student pace model, which is now included in the free version. Now, if you do have a school or district package, then one of the neat things that has that kind of comes along with that is that Nearpod can integrate into any LMS you have, from Canvas, Schoology, or my personal favorite, Blackboard. This is not a feature with any silver or gold packages. You have to have a district or school package for it. Now, to me, the major benefits from Nearpod are honestly endless. The assessments and activities that you can embed into your lessons are invaluable to me as a teacher, because you can have your students engaged. So you're engaging the students in the content. Hopefully then they're going to learn it and retain it better. And then the assessment activities, of course, are great formal and informal assessments that help to guide my instruction. Then you have your self-paced or student-paced, and then your live participation model. What these are great for is my student-paced ones. I use them for a lot of my students that have accommodations, such as extended time. But it's also great with remote learning because I have many students that cannot make it to our traditional daily Zoom meetings, and so they're doing this late at night on their own. So I make my lessons to have both a live participation feature and a student self-paced participation feature. That way my students that can't make the live version, they can still go over the content and engage in all the same activities. So what type of activities, assessments, and content can you embed within your slides itself? These first two rows right here have the different types of content that you can embed in it, and then this bottom one has the different types of activities. Now Nearpod is just upgraded it some more, so now you can even have Flipgrid embedded in your assessment or activities. Now, some of the neat things, of course, is you can upload a traditional PowerPoint that you have already made, and then you can, of course, add to it and Nearpodize it, as they call it. So you can have a traditional slide with text, images. You can embed field trips, virtual field trips, 3D images, calculators, videos, PDFs. One of my new favorite features is the video one, which now acts as just like Edpuzzle. I can find any video, ones that have already been created by Nearpod, or I can upload any video that is in YouTube, and I can embed questions and activities throughout that video just like Edpuzzle would do. When it comes to the assessment, some of my favorite ones, of course, are open-ended. I teach social studies, so I love having students elaborate and explain things. But I also love the Collaborate board, which is very similar to a Padlet. This is a great way for students just to add information, their own thoughts and feelings to things, opinions, and you also have a feature to it where you can keep the names anonymous, so students can't see they could see what other students are writing, but they can't attach a name to it. But then you, as the teacher and educator, you can see the students' names with that.
Once you are ready to share your Nearpod with students, you can launch a live session or a student-paced session. You can find these in My Library, hover over the presentation, and you can choose live lesson or student-paced. A live lesson is one where the teacher drives the presentation. The slides move as the teacher moves them on the student devices. Student-paced is where students can actually move through the presentation at their own pace. To choose either one of these, you click the button that you want, and then you can, if you've already launched this session once, you can have a pin that you could resume. This one expires in 14 days. Live lessons expire 14 days from the last time someone clicked it.
Now, another feature I really like about this is I teach 3 different sections of the same class, and this is something that many of you will probably be doing too. So, different classes go along the content at a different pace. So, you can technically have 3 different live lessons going on, and you can keep coming back to it. So, your first period civics class might be on a different point when you stop the lesson than your 4th period civics class.
Or you can launch a new session. You can write down this code to give to students on the board, or you can share with students a link and they can get to the presentation this way. You can share it on social media. You could send it to Google Classroom or using Remind or emailing the students. Students can go to nearpod.com and they can enter the code here or here on that page. It is not case sensitive. Once they enter the code, they'll be prompted to answer their name, and they click Send. Once they've done this, on the teacher's side, it will show that they have joined the session. If the students join with a name that isn't appropriate, you can remove them by clicking Remove, and it will just send the students back to the sign-in screen. The teacher can then drive the lesson. The teacher can leave the presentation by clicking this button here, and then they can go back to their main My Library. The students can leave the presentation by clicking this little menu button and clicking Exit. To do a student-paced presentation, the process is very similar. You hover over the presentation, choose Student-Paced, which generates a code, and the students can simply enter this code into their screen. And the code is associated with the student-paced presentation, so it knows. And instead of the teacher needing to drive it, the students have their own ability to be able to go through the presentation at their own pace.
So that's what we're doing right now. This is the student pace model that we are in. So when it comes to assessments, how this generally works is you're going to launch your activity or your lesson. This could either, of course, be live participation or your student-paced. Students will be going through this and doing the activities as you either come across them or they come across them. When everything is finished, you will be in your own library and you can download your student reports. So I can have export to PDF or I can hit report. So this was a lesson that was done in the springtime when school was shut down in March. Now let's look at the different types of assessments that you can embed within your Nearpod lessons.
With Nearpod's variety of formative assessments, you can gauge a student's understanding of your lesson in real time and even automate lesson grading. Let's take a look at some examples. Draw-its are like interactive whiteboards. Students can draw, highlight, type, and add pictures. You can upload an existing file or start from scratch. Draw-its can be used to solve equations, annotate passages, label diagrams, and much more. With open-ended questions, students can explain their thinking or get creative. Teachers are able to share responses with the class anonymously to highlight strong answers or tackle misconceptions without putting anyone on the spot. All responses are logged in post-session reports. Use a poll to highlight student opinions, collect information, check for overall class understanding, or as a springboard for a class discussion. Share anonymous responses with the class in the form of a pie chart. With Collaborate boards, you can create collaborative learning opportunities where students share their ideas in real time. Students can post text and images, and even like each other's posts. You can choose to approve posts before they appear on the board. Fill in the blanks is a drag and drop activity for a quick check on vocabulary or a fast review of a concept. It's an easy and fun way for students to gauge their own understanding and a favorite of English language learners. Make your classroom more accessible for visual learners with matching pairs. Let students test their knowledge by matching pictures and/or text. Matching pairs is great for vocabulary, math, science, almost any subject. Gamify the whole experience with the timer option. Eliminate the headache of manually grading exit tickets and tests. With quizzes, you can assess students' understanding through multiple choice or true-false questions, receive instant results, and identify common misconceptions. Get 100% student participation, instant feedback, auto-graded results, and an engaged classroom. It's all possible with Nearpod. So, let's transform teaching together.
So after viewing this video, my question to you is, which of these assessments are you most excited about? I know you can't do this since you are just watching this as a video, but my favorite ones are your polling feature, and I also love the open-ended. So now let's talk about creating your own Nearpod account. All you simply need to do is hit go to Nearpod or nearpod.com. You'll want to hit sign up for your free account, and then there's several options that you can do here. As I say in here, you can do a Google account, your Office 360 account, or of course you can sign up using another email. Once you have signed up for your free account, if you choose, you can do an upgraded account such as the gold membership. But as I have mentioned before, because of COVID-19, Nearpod has added more and more features to the free account. So unless you feel like you are going to be using Nearpod on a near daily basis, then my suggestion would be just to stick with the free account. So, of course, here is the Nearpod website. There's lots of different things that you can go about and do with it. Nearpod also offers a lot of professional development with this, so it's a great way that you can even add to your own professional development goals. You can get a digital badge through this. You can get you can become a Nearpod certified educator. There's lots of different things that you can go about doing with this. So not only is Nearpod great for you as a teacher, but it's also going to be great for you as a professional because they offer lots of support for educators implementing this in their classroom. Now that you've set up your account, let's talk about you creating your very first Nearpod lesson.
Today, you'll learn how to create a Nearpod lesson. There are two ways to create a Nearpod lesson. The first way is to create a lesson in Nearpod. The second way is to create a lesson in Google Slides. Or you can also select your format in the upper right-hand corner by selecting the New tab. When creating a lesson within Nearpod, you can begin by titling your lesson. Next, you can add engaging and interactive content and activities by clicking on the Add Slide button. Our Content tab is meant to engage and teach students. Our Activities tab is meant to assess our students. You can also enhance pre-existing content by uploading your own pre-made PowerPoints, PNGs, and PDFs. You can do so by selecting any PowerPoint, PDF, or PNG from your computer drive, Google Drive, Dropbox, and OneDrive. Once uploaded, now I can Nearpodize my PowerPoint. Nearpodizing simply means that you're adding engaging, interactive features and activities to enhance your pre-made lesson. When done nearpodizing your pre-existing PowerPoint, make sure to click Save and Exit. Here's my PowerPoint that's now enhanced with all of its Nearpod engaging interactive features and content. Remember, you can also create a lesson in Nearpod within Google Slides. All you have to do is simply select Lesson in Google Slides, and it will walk you through step by step how to create a Nearpod lesson within Google Slides. If you have any further questions, please visit nearpod.com/resources or email us at support@nearpod.com.
So now that you've gone over the basics of Nearpod and you've hopefully learned how to create your account, I encourage you to go forth and use Nearpod. It's a great tool that you can have and add to your teaching resources. It's also a great way for you to show your integration of technology into your curriculum. Another thing I wanted to point out before we end this online training is the Nearpod library. So here I've logged into my own personal Nearpod account, and Nearpod has curated hundreds and hundreds of lessons that you could use. So if you are looking for something to possibly add in, maybe you don't have, necessarily the time to do that, they have a lot of activities and lessons for you. You can search for them, and you can also add your own lessons to the library for other people to use. So let's say I am trying to look up something about social emotional learning. Maybe I decide that based upon, responses back from my students, I might need to focus a little bit, maybe not on the content and on helping them, especially in this time frame of online learning. They have lots of different things that I could add to my own library and then of course use in teaching. Nearpod is partnered up with lots of different things. Some of my favorite groups are Teaching Tolerance and also iCivic, since I teach social studies. So all of them, they have embedded lessons within that you can add to your own Nearpod. So just as a quick overview of some of the different things that you can do, you are always welcome to go back and edit your own lesson. So this was a PowerPoint that I had made before I had even discovered Nearpod, and I have gone back through and Nearpodized it. Now the one downside to this is my own theme from my PowerPoint is not something that can be uploaded into it. So you can see that a slide that I had previously made, if I was uploading a slide in Nearpod itself, like creating a new slide for it, it's not going to have the theme that the rest of my slides would. So if you're, more of an OCD person where everything has to be matching, that might be a little bit of a hindrance for you. But overall, the materials and the features that Nearpod has far outweighs any aesthetical things that you would have for that. So that is Nearpod in a nutshell. It is a super easy tool to use. It's very user-friendly, unlike, a lot of other things within education today. So you can actually become very adept at it just by simply playing around, especially if you have the time for it. But if you don't and you really want to kind of approach this from, a more, structured way, of course, as I said, Nearpod offers lots of professional development and certification programs. But I hope you learned something from this, and I hope you see the value in having a platform like this. All right, and that will be the end.